Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Aaron, I'm the Brick Scavenger, and it's been a long time since we did a YouTube video. Let me start by saying thank you to everybody that has reached out, whether it's we miss your videos, or please make more videos, or are you okay? I know it's been a while. I took a break. I have not taken a break from Lego. I've been doing a bunch of Lego stuff, and we're gonna try to get back into YouTube and keep you guys updated on all the things happening at the Brick Scavenger house. You guys didn't come to see me blabber on videos, so let's get right to the point. Today is an update on my medieval village 8-foot table. Let's check it out. All right, so let's talk medieval display. I know I've been promising it for years, but this is my 8-foot table that will be my first ever medieval mock. So let's take a look at this thing. It's very much a work in progress, but my vision is I'm gonna have kind of two villages. One village here, one village kind of up here, and they'll be separated by what will eventually be kind of a windy river. Anyway, this one is, I think, 3 copies of, what is it, the Medieval Market, or the one that's currently out that Lego makes. I did a couple of rebrickables plus the standard model. So this will be eventually filled with peasants and all things like that. I really like the way it looks when you have a bunch of different houses, shops, things like that, but they're all the kind of the same color scheme. So eventually we'll get to that side, but you'll exit the town. We'll turn this thing kind of into a winding river. Magisto will not be in the middle of the river. That'll get moved eventually, but this will be kind of a windy river here. We're gonna have to put some kind of bridge over it, which will then lead into a forest. This is gonna be just really dense trees in here. But I'm envisioning kind of a path cut through the trees that maybe winds somewhat in the shape of an S, something like that, that will lead here. We'll talk about that in a minute, but as I say that, I'm kind of wondering if back in the corner, maybe we can bury Magisto, the little Magisto's workshop, somewhere in the forest. That could be kind of fun. Anyway, the path will come out, and eventually, we'll get to this big kind of elevated town up on a hill or mountain or whatever. But the only way to get to that town will be to take the winding, kind of hilly sloped path all the way up the side of the hill, winds around, and then eventually will open up into the town. I want this to be a fairly gradual slope, so that you can imagine like horse and cart could kind of trek their way up there. I do envision this path being lots of foliage in here, trees, bushes, things like that. So it'll be fairly dense, ideally with a high enough canopy that, the carts would kind of be going through a shaded path of trees. Anyway, this has been quite an undertaking. This thing is elevated by, 13, 14 bricks, something like that, you can see. And obviously it's got a big support structure underneath it, but that takes a massive amount of brick, and it takes a massive amount of work to get it elevated this much. I also, we'll talk about over here in just a second, but I wanted to have like a big, whoops, I'm breaking things, town square area where peasants can be kind of roaming about. We'll have some path, through here with different color. So this is obviously going to be a lot more fun to look at than just a bunch of brown. But this is the update that you're getting now. Up at the highest point, you've got the windmill there to, create some energy for people. Now, one thing I will say about this, I do have this vision of this entire room being a big Lego city, but having a train be able to go all the way around the whole city. So every build that I make has to first have the consideration of how does the train operate within whatever mock I'm making. So this village, you can see I have left, 14, 16 studs, something like that intentionally so that the train can go by here. Eventually we will have, a bridge for the train to go over here. But what that created was a huge headache, because initially I was gonna have the train go through here, not as a part of the hill. but there wasn't enough space here for these two buildings. So I really needed, you know, these 16 or so studs to be able to fit this building and this building. So that meant that the train had to become a tunnel. So you can see now that this is actually going to be a tunnel for the train to be able to go through. But that also meant that I had the extra flat surface on top for more buildings. So that took a lot of work as well. Needed to make sure that I had enough elevation here for the train to get under, enough width for the train to get through, but it couldn't be more than 16 studs, at least not easily, because trying to span this in a sort of strong way is not easy either. Now, one thing that scares me about trains and tunnels is, what if there's accidents in the tunnel, right? If a train falls apart in a tunnel, you have no access to the train. How do you clean it up, right? So I designed this tunnel so that hopefully it looks kind of fun, but also more importantly, you know, I can get my fingers in here and clean up damage or get parts out of there that fall apart or whatever. So that was some, you know, thinking ahead to trying to make sure that my tunnel will be accessible in the event of a train wreck. So what's next? I'm envisioning kind of the next steps of this thing to adding a lot of foliage along here. I really want this thing to be much more lush. You know, I think that'll look good. Even some stuff up here. So, you know, I don't want any hikers to come up here and think they can just kind of scale this wall, right? This needs to be dense enough that really the only option to access is by hiking. So we will certainly add some plant life in there. I just this morning started adding all this rock work in here. I don't, again, want people to think they can kind of hike up this. So this is going to be covered in plants. I'm tempted to even have some trees kind of sticking out, use maybe some animal tail pieces so they can, the trees don't just go up and down, they kind of stick out and curve out. So that needs to happen. Obviously, we still need to fill in this area right here with rock as well. And then from there, I got to decide whether you then are working on the village part with the, you know, all the various happenings of the town. Maybe you work on the wooded area. I think this village over here will be for a future project. I really think from kind of river over will be my focus for the next couple of weeks. I know you're just getting this update after several months away, so maybe it, you know, seems like I built this fast, but I did not. This has taken a very long time, so my next update, no doubt, will have significantly less update than what you're seeing here. But since it's been so long since we did a video, I thought it'd be fun to show you guys kind of what my personal Lego projects have been over the last, you know, 6 months. Some other things going on as well, but this is my main passion for the moment. Thank you guys for tuning into the Brick Scavenger channel. Hopefully this is going to be a regular thing again. I've missed you guys. If it's been a long time since you've seen a YouTube channel or a Brick Scavenger channel, look how big this animal is now. What do you say, Soka? What do you say, big boy? Look at this guy. He used to fit through the fence. He does not fit anymore. We'll see you guys next time.